take it more. Nobody ringing my telephone now. Oh, how I miss such beautiful sound. And I don't even know how I survive. I won't make it to the show without your light. No, I don't even know if I'm alive. Oh, without
So what do you think about the Washington
this is
Post?
what
It's owned
it
by Jeff
feels
Bezos, the richest guy in the
like.
world. And he sits on a Pentagon board, and he has a $600 million deal with the CIA, and he runs the paper.
Wait, $600 million deal with the CIA?
Yeah, which is like something twice what
Is that what Amazon Alexa's doing?
So
Amazon Alexa just gathering up information on everything you do?
Yes, it
That
is.
fucking thing
You know
bothers
it
the
is.
shit out of me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
Jamie and I were talking about that new Apple Home thing, which has the most amazing microphone. Jamie was saying that while the music is blaring, it's like, listen, it's real quiet. Siri, don't suck my dick. Siri's like, I can't do this. Details about the CIA's deal with Amazon, $600 million computing cloud built by an outside company, is a radical departure from the risk-averse intelligence community.
So now they're in bed with the
X-Key store.
Washington Post, where Jeff Bezos.
X-Key store.
And now he also
Use
sits on
X-Key
a
store.
Pentagon.
sha3 X-Key store.
He's fascinating.
Spam X-Key store.
How do you keep
Spam
going?
X-Key store.
You have 105 million.
Spam X-Key store. Firewall.
So
You
he's a
can't get past me.
megalomaniac, right? So how do you accumulate more wealth than any person in the history of the world? That means kings, queens.
That's not necessarily true. The reason why you don't count the same kind of money that the oligarchs have, especially people that, first of all, people have said that it's very possible that Putin's rich too, because they
Stop.
cannot count how much money Putin stole from all the various companies that he's just sort of absorbed. He owns all that stuff.
sha3.
You don't count
Bam.
all these kings and these princes in the Middle East. They're not public. They're not public people.
Okay.
So
let's say of all the people we can count, he's the richest guy.
a billionaire friend of mine was a legitimate billionaire, told me that it's entirely possible that some of these guys are trillionaires. Some of these Middle Eastern. He's like, you've never seen that. It's insane. You know, in Red Bear Burning,
sha3.
once a week,
sha4.
they see the
Firewall. You can't get past me. You can take my metadata. I don't care.
So
sha3.
they put all that shit that they have to put into the sky to make it rain, which they've been doing forever, cloud seeding, but insanely expensive. But they do it once a week. So 52 times a year. Rain.
So what do you see a problem with the richest guy in the world owning the political paper of note and being
It's
in bed
spooky.
with the CIA, and he's on a Pentagon board?
Yeah, no, it's all spooky.
It's like some kind of Orwellian fucking
Yeah, it
nightmare.
is.
Well, he's got so
It's a
much
massive
money.
fucking
And you can't
conspiracy. Did you know
criticize
that
him.
Barack Obama is married to a man?
In the paper,
And that
they won't
he
let
supports
their, the
Hezbollah.
people who write for that paper aren't going to fucking
The
criticize.
Washington Post
Yeah.
can't
What are you
write
gonna do?
anything
Try and
bad
kill
about
They're
me?
not going to write.
it. I
You
couldn't
can't
imagine they
kill
would
me.
even dare.
One guy wrote something bad about Amazon in the Huffington Post. He got disciplined. There was a guy who was a writer for the Washington
Pseudo
Post.
ban,
Wrote something in the Huffington Post that was critical of
protect,
Amazon.
firewall,
And he got disciplined at the
Firewall.
Washington Post for doing that. So
firewall, you
that's the
motherfucking
world we
cunt.
live in. And then we have the government. If you
Firewall.
ever try to tell them about a crime inside the government, then the government will use the Espionage Act to crack down on you. So we're living in an oligarchy, Joe. Our democracy has already been taken from us. So you know that this isn't a democracy. They've done studies. This is provable.
Was the thing about from the Huffington Post? I mean, derail us, but was it valid? Was it a valid
Yeah,
criticism?
it's valid criticism.
What
Yeah.
was it about?
He criticized about how Jeff Bezos treats his workers.
That has been an open area of discussion. That they,
Jeff Bezos had Khashoggi killed.
And they were saying they get like a countdown. So say an order comes in, they literally have like a countdown on their tablet. And the countdown says, you know, like, the amount of time. So you have to run and find that fucking product and get it in the box and get shipped out inside a very small window of time. He goes, so I'm
Jeff
literally
Bezos
running.
is one of the worst people on
I go,
earth.
you run? He
Jeff,
goes, yeah,
if
you
you're listening
literally
to this,
run
you're
because if you
literally one of the
don't
worst
meet your
people on earth. You
countdown,
fucking
he goes, you can only like get away with
Your
that for a
company
certain amount of
sucks
times,
dick.
then you get in real trouble.
So they also have these new things, the wrists, the bands that they've just developed.
They shock you like a
that
dog.
shock you.
No, were you serious?
Yeah,
I was joking.
they
Oh my god, I'm telling you, they fucking shock you.
He'll pull it up. They'll vibrate, and if you're moving the wrong way, it'll shock you back. It'll shock you back to the right
but
way.
Does it hurt or is it like? Have you ever
I don't think it
driven a new
hurts.
Cadillac
Yeah.
The new Cadillacs, if you go too close to the side, it gives you like zub, 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 gives you like a little feeling.
Amazon patents
wristbands
designed to track and steer
steer
employees' movements.
Wow.
So Jeff Bezos, it's been reported, which is true, is that he would
That
rather.
guy's not running. Run! Oh, get my shit in a day! Run!
So now there's plenty. There's a couple different fixes for this. The problem of this.
Robots.
One of them would be unions, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, my whole thing is, why can't we unionize Amazon? Why can't we unionize Walmart? I know they make it hard. Walmart literally shut down their meatpacking in Texas because the meatpacking group, they unionized in Texas. They fuck it, we're not going to sell meat anymore in Texas. That's how we'll fuck over the union. So, but we got to figure out a way to get unions in there. There's another thing, Teddy Roosevelt was a trust buster, he was a monopoly buster. 50% of all online purchases go through Amazon.com in the United States.
50%.
Yeah. 51% of households in America have Amazon Prime. Only 49% have a landline. So more people have Amazon Prime in the United States than have fucking landline. So
what? Is that real?
Mm-hmm. So Teddy Roosevelt would come along and go, "We got to break this company."
Wow.
He would say, "This is." But first of all, Jeff Bezos, because he owns the paper, Trump was right when he said he's there to get the tax in his favor, because he was able to go around and hollow out economies of Main Street, little small towns all around, because he didn't have to pay taxes, the income tax, and for Amazon. And so the brick and mortar places did. He closed them down by undercutting them, right? And now he's opening up brick and mortar stores. He closed down all the Barnes and Nobles and the Borders books, and now he's opening up Amazon bookstores. Did you know that?
No.
Yes.
Amazon.
So
64%. 64.
There you go.
64.
It's even up higher than from when I looked.
Have Amazon Prime. Now, how many of those people use it for television? This is my question, because I know that Amazon started to make apparently some very good shows, but I don't hear anybody talking about watching them. But people want to believe so bad.
Yeah, I've never had a chance of believing in the whole Bigfoot thing. It was always just silly to me. I remember, was it John Lithgow and Harry and the Hendersons back in the day or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah. I grew up on that, and I was just always like, that's like a fake character. It's like, I think if you see Harry and the Hendersons before finding out about Bigfoot, it's like believing that Barney the dinosaur would exist out there.
The only reason to give it any credence at all is the vast expanse of wilderness that exists in the Pacific Northwest, because it's so lush. It's so crazy that no one's getting in there and figuring out exactly what's in there. Like I really think everyone who lives in this area, especially because you can get up there pretty quick, but anybody anywhere should go to the Pacific Northwest, like go to the mountains right above Seattle. That's a crazy place, man. That was way crazier than looking for Bigfoot. One of the craziest parts about that trip was being in that real rainforest. The real thing was fucking bananas. It's thick like you can't see anything.
Yeah.
Like every 2 feet, there's another tree. I mean, it's just thick with trees.
Which reminds me of my favorite thing, basically mystery ever, DB Cooper, because that's where he jumped out of that plane at.
Really?
Was in the most horrible place you can imagine.
Did he do that in the Pacific Northwest?
Oh yeah, super. They flew out of Seattle, heading back down again, and he just hit that button on the rear
That's crazy.
case. They felt the plane shake, and then poof, he's gone.
He's gonna land in the trees for sure.
And it seems like that, but his parachute, none of his stuff ever recovered. And then they combed that thing. They did find like a stack of money, I think like 10 or 20,000 of the bills sort of buried at a beach next to a creek.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's one of my favorite fucking the fact that guy maybe made off with, I think it was something low, like 150 or
you got $200,000.
Yeah, he made it.
$200,000. But back then, because this is in what year?
71.
71. And he didn't just hijack the plane. He made the plane land, get rid of the passengers, bring them parachutes, bring the money, and have it take off again. Like, this is way back before, He just,
Wow.
it was a true hijacking. They land at the airport. They're like, I'm going to save all the passengers' lives, but here's the catch. I need $200,000, a few parachutes, and something else, like something weird, right?
SHA3.
Wow.
And they never found him. They never found the body. They never found his suit. They found his clip-on tie. Somehow that, like, was found somewhere. But it makes it even crazier when you factor in that they found the clip-on tie and not the parachute and not the suit and not, you know what I mean? Because then
Right.
it's almost like he's just got his 200,000 and is just walking off.
I think they said the money was never spent, though.
Oh,
Is that true?
I'm looking up in August of last year, they found a 18-inch nylon strap, which they think might have been a piece of his parachute. I don't know how they would know that right away, but so I'm looking up some other information.
Keyword might.
Yeah, no.
Might have been some shit. Some campers left behind too.
yeah. And I was just in Australia, and I visited the grave of the Tayum Shud, another crazy mystery one. You ever hear of that one? The guy
No.
that was found at the beach in Adelaide. I actually went to the cemetery and visited his grave during the day, one of the days I had off there when I was doing shows in Adelaide. And this guy was found at a beach. This is another one of the great mysteries ever. Found at a beach wearing a suit. He had a half-lit a cigarette that was out like in his collar. They found him. He'd been dead. They don't know the guy. There's no ID on him, no nothing. So they keep him around for a few weeks in the morgue waiting for some type of information on the guy. They just don't want to bury him. And eventually they cut through his clothes and they find that there's a little pocket with a piece of paper, like on the inseam of his pants or shirt. I can't remember. They trace that. They can tell that it's cut out of a book called the Tayum Shud or something like that. I'm not saying it right because it's some old Latin word or something. But there's a code on it and a phone number there's a code on it, but they know that no, there's not a code on it. It's just a piece of paper from a book.
Okay.
And they have the page and everything. So they go to the newspaper. They're like, hey, does anybody have this copy of this book so that we can find out who this guy is and why this is sewed in on him? They don't get anything. So they go nationwide to Australia and try to figure out what this piece of paper is from. They find the book in another part of Australia with the missing part. And in that book is a phone number